Welcome back to Dollars and Cents, where we help you make sense out of all of life's decisions involving your dollars. We're one of Central Florida's longest running radio programs, also happen to be a top 25 financial planning podcast as well. So make sure you check us out on your favorite podcast platform. Have any trouble finding us on any of these locations, just go to our website, nelsonfinancialplanning.com, and you'll see a bunch of icons, and click on any of those and you'll get immediately connected to our channel. Once you're there, make sure you subscribe. That way you know when we upload new content, and we upload new content every single week to all of those different platforms. My name, of course, is Joel Garris, certified financial planner, certified financial fiduciary. Joining me on this week's program is Kristin Kalley, also one of the certified financial fiduciary, certified financial planners, and CPAs on the team at Nelson Financial Planning, where we got a great team of folks like Kristin and the rest who stand ready, willing, and able to help you make sense of all of those decisions that have anything to do with your finances. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Secure Act. Give us a little bit of a background on why this is such a crucial topic.
Yeah, so the Secure Act, it stands for Setting Every Community Up for Retirement. So just like it sounds, it's trying to get people ready and prepared for retirement. So I did some research on this, and it looks like, according to a recent poll, about half of Americans say they don't have enough saved for retirement. And a third of that say that they're significantly behind on their savings.
Not good numbers at all when you start to listen to some of these numbers.
Yeah, and millennials are actually behind every other generation, and they arguably have more time until retirement. So the fact that they're even further behind, it's pretty alarming. It's pretty bad.
Talking about missed opportunities, right? Missing out on the opportunity to have money grow and compound over an extended period of time. It's the old expression. It's the expression that we talked at length about in the book. Time in, not timing, is certainly a pretty fundamental concept that folks need to realize when we think about retirement. And clearly the notion of this most recent version of the Secure Act, because there was an earlier one from a few years ago, this one added a lot more, but clearly the message out of Washington is that retirement's kind of on you. I mean, that's what it really comes down to, is that you as the individual need to ultimately plan for your own retirement. And so that's why they keep kind of revisiting all of these, trying to secure, everybody for retirement. The reality is it comes back to you and your decisions and how you're spending your money, and more importantly, how you're saving your money.
Right. And with less pension plans available to new employees, it really is on them to start saving. So this Secure Act has some automatic provisions and things along those lines that just automatically help new employees start saving just by default.
Well, and certainly it's all about choice, and you really got to be thinking about the opportunity cost when you have a dollar. And as you mentioned, millennials, that generation is actually quite behind where they really should be.
Right. And with inflation at its highest in 40 years, it's time to start saving.
Right. No, absolutely. So you've got some takeaways, if you will, on the Secure Act. What are kind of the four keys, and then we'll spend some time sort of breaking them down in much more detail.
Yep. So the four key takeaways. So what the Secure Act was looking to do was increase limits, so make it able to contribute more to your retirement plans. Make it easier to get started, so automatic enrollment, automatic deferrals, things along those lines. Have better access to the money in your retirement accounts. We know a lot of people don't want to set up a retirement account because of the age restriction or because of the penalties. So just making it easier to access those funds in the case of an emergency or something along those lines. And then more incentives to start saving. So there's some good benefits for doing deferrals and that sort of thing.
So really just kind of broadening out the options and making it more, I guess, accessible is kind of the focus.
Right. Yes.
So tell us about that first one, though. So contribution limits, things like that, those typically go up every year based upon in inflation as well. But how much is that? But there's also some additional catch-up contributions and things like that the Secure 2.0 Act did. So what's the story on contribution limits?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So in 2024, your 401k limit is now going to be $23,000. So that's up $500 since last year, since 2023. And then with the catch-up, that's $30,500. But starting in 2025, there's actually going to be an increased catch-up if you fall between the age range of 60 and 63. So if you fall in that age range starting in 2025, you can actually do a $10,000 catch-up. So it's about $3,500 more than the current catch-up. But it is a little bit of an odd provision because once you turn 64, it goes back down to the original catch-up limit of $7,500. So it just sounds like a payroll nightmare trying to figure that out.
Leave it to Washington to complicate something that really shouldn't be complicated, right? I mean, I like the notion of there being one catch-up contribution or one catch-up amount if you're over 50, right? And then what they're trying to do is, okay, well, if you get to 60 and you're still behind, okay, hopefully you're not, but unfortunately the statistics say more and more people are, then we're going to give you an opportunity to do an even bigger catch-up amount. So I get that philosophically, but like, well, that's just such a weird selection of age range. What would you say, 60 to 63? Is that right?
Yep. And then at 64, you go back down to the original catch-up.
That just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
And the horrible part about it is, depending on the payroll platforms, if you over-contribute to a 401k, you are taxed on that over-contribution.
Right.
So I don't know how it's going to play out, but...
Certainly odd, particularly, if the notion of folks being better prepared for retirement translates to, hey, you probably need to work longer. Why wouldn't you have that catch-up contribution that larger catch-up contribution be a permanent part, right? Once you turn 60, then, okay, there's a higher amount of a catch-up contribution limit, and then that goes on for as long as you want.
Right. So again, we see the intent, but some of the logistics of these provisions don't make the most sense.
Something out of Washington not making sense. Where have I ever encountered that before? All right. What else is part of this Secure Act? That's sort of one of the key things that folks need to know as they think about next year.
So this is going to be the automatic enrollment. So starting in 2025, if you have an employer 401k plan, if you're offering that to your employees, you're going to have to do automatic enrollment with at least a 3% deferral. So that doesn't mean you have to match. It's just you have to set your employees up or automatically enroll them and have them defer at least 3% of their salary.
Okay, so then that's 2025. Auto enrollment. Obviously, I could opt out if I didn't want it, but I will be now automatically enrolled with my contribution amount automatically increasing as well, correct?
Correct. Yes, it's supposed to increase 1% per year to a max of around 10% or 15%.
Okay, so every year I automatically enroll, and every year it just kind of keeps going up. Now, the other part of it, there's a little bit of a landmine there for the for the employer, right? What is that all about?
Yeah, so if you're in a safe harbor 401k or you're doing matching,
right,
suddenly all of your employees are going to be automatically enrolled. So that's going to be a larger matching expense. So just something just to keep in mind as you're making these matching contributions and writing your plan amendments.
As an employer, then your cost is going to go up because now you're going to, by automatically enrolling all of your employees if you're matching, then you've got more matching dollars that you would need to contribute. Plus, it also applies to part-timers, right? So
Yes.
there's different more part-time employees can now be eligible to participate.
Right. So this was started back with the Secure Act 1.0, where they said we should start including part-time employees in these plans. So that was if they worked for you 3 years, 500 hours. Now they can automatically be a part of it. Now it's 2 years and 500 hours, so they're lowering the restrictions for
so
part-time
more
employees.
part-time employees can also participate. Interesting stuff. Well, that's 2 of the 4 key takeaways from the Secure 2.0 Act as we think about 2024 and going forward. When we return, we'll cover the other 2 here on Dollars and Cents with Joel Garris and Kristin Kalley of Nelson Financial Planning.